What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Keys of the Castle podcast. I'm going to go ahead and continue today with the little series, I suppose you can call it, of this or that Disneyland ride roulette. Would you rather? That's a pretty long title, but we're just going to go with that. Welcome to Disneyland, this or that ride roulette. Would you rather? I think that was different that time, but it doesn't matter. Anyhow, we're going to continue on. At this point that I'm recording this, I'm not sure which ones have been released, if any, but I'm just going to go ahead and continue down the list, and I'm going to go with this next matchup. So it's going to be Gadgets Go versus the... Funny thing, I don't even know what these are called. What the heck is the proper name for the Tomorrowland... Rockets? Astro Blast? Not Astro Blasters, that's Buzz. Tomorrowland Astro Orbiters? I think that's what it's called. So, Gadgets Go Coaster, I think that's what it's called in Toontown, versus the other ride, which I also don't know what it's called, Astro Orbiter. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. So, would you rather? First things first, would you rather get rid of Gadgets Go Coaster forever or Astro Orbiters forever? And let's see, as the rides as they are now, there's a bunch of different thoughts that flood my mind. So if we're just talking in terms of which ride I enjoy more, I enjoy emotionally more so the Astro Orbiters for some reason. I don't know if it's just the style of ride or just the nostalgia and memories. I have more like nostalgic type memories and emotions for that ride as opposed to the Gadgets Go Coaster. Although, fun fact, the Gadgets Go Coaster, I believe, was my first ever roller coaster that I ever rode, which I think I was like 4 or 5 years old. And, I was trying to make that a big deal, even though it was not a crazy roller coaster or something. I think it might have been, though, at the time. But either way, if I had to get rid of one, more than likely it would actually probably be the Gadgets Go Coaster, just for personal selfish reasons. Nothing other than that, just simply if I had to choose one off the top of my head, that's just the first thing that comes to mind, is that I'd rather keep the Astro Orbiters. However, the concept of just the rides themselves, because I think they've both been, I'm not sure if they've both been rethemed. I think maybe Gadgets Go Coaster was rethemed at some point or renamed, and I'm not sure about Astro Orbiters. But as far as just the style of rides, it's been too long that I've been on. I literally think the one time I went on the Gadgets Go Coaster was when I was 4 or 5. I think that was the first and only time I had ever been on that roller coaster. So I'd have to go on it again, but I would say just as far as like the style of rides, I think I would have to again choose Astro Orbiters, just out of the simple fact, like out of process of elimination, that I don't remember even what it's like on Gadgets Go Coaster. I do like the idea of a roller coaster better, though, than just like the going around up and down like type of ride. I don't want to say Dumbo style ride, because Dumbo is freaking like legendary. So I don't want to word it that way, but I think in general, if I'm just comparing the two styles of ride, I'd probably go with like the little roller coaster. That just seems more exciting. Another thing that I don't like about Astro Orbiters is for some reason it just bothers me the amount of like bottleneck and clog it like brings to the feel of the front entrance of Tomorrowland at Disneyland. For some reason it just always bothers me. I'm like, why are there so many people there? Like, and it's not even like the ride itself, it's not even like the fault of just like the ride itself that it's a bad ride or something. It's more so just like it just causes so much like traffic and congestion. It just makes me not want to go into Tomorrowland for some reason. So I don't know, that maybe is just a weird me thing, but yeah, so those are just the first few things that come to mind. Also, I'm going to say that if I had to just choose one to ride just for the day, like say I'm visiting once in a year or something, the Disneyland in California. Honestly, now that I think about it, again, because of the congestion and just like, it seems like it's like a pretty like hefty wait time just based off of just optics. When I see like how crowded it is outside of Astro Orbiter and just how big the line looks, at least, usually to me. So definitely I would rather do the Gadgets Go Coaster. And also, just like I was saying earlier, that it's been a long time. It would be cool to go on that again because, I don't know what it's like. So it would be cool to go on that with maybe one of the kids in my family or something like that. But yeah, I'm trying to think how else we diced this up last time and how I compared them. I don't know, but either way, I'll just leave that at that. That's not a super exciting matchup, I don't think. So the last one was Matterhorn versus Alice in Wonderland. That's a pretty cool one. That's an interesting matchup, especially to be selected at random because they are right next to each other. So, yeah, now that I think about it, it's like that genuinely could be a scenario where someone's like, oh, should we go to Alice or Matterhorn? They're both like right here. Again, it depends on context. More than likely, I think I'm going to choose Matterhorn majority of the time. Alice in Wonderland, that's a good ride too, though. I think for, like, if I were talking about my next or upcoming trip to Disneyland, assuming I have a baby with me, I would obviously choose Alice in Wonderland. Although that's a pretty weird ride. I don't know if I'd want her on that. Like, I don't think it would be of any benefit to her. I don't know if she'd enjoy it. So maybe I'd choose Matterhorn and just do like single rider or something. That might be cool. If I were to choose one to go away forever between Alice in Wonderland and Matterhorn, that is a difficult one. It depends on what it's replaced with, potentially. I think naturally the first thing that comes to my mind is to take away Alice and keep Matterhorn. But yeah, that's a tough one. I'll go ahead and move on to the next matchup, actually. So this is an interesting one. So there is actually... did I leave Splash Mountain on here? Let me see. Yep, I have Splash Mountain here in the matchup of roulettes. So that's kind of an interesting one. That also might be why the number of rides that I'm doing, the matchups came out as an even number. But either way, this next matchup is actually not Splash Mountain, but it's going to be Tiana's Bayou Adventure versus Jungle Cruise. And I'm not sure if I said this last time, but I actually don't prefer to call the rides, especially like the IP rides or what have you, like the rides like Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I don't like calling them by their like official name at Disneyland. Like it makes me cringe saying Peter Pan's Flight. See, I can't even say it. Peter Pan's Flight. I cringe saying that. I just call it Peter Pan, and I just call it Tiana's. Like, that's just natural for me. And listening to Disney content, I realized that a lot of other people call it by, like, a lot of content creators, Disney content creators, call the rides by their proper names, which I suppose makes sense because, maybe that's the more professional or the more legit way to refer to the rides, but I think, I don't remember what I was watching, but I was watching something and there was like an Imagineer, or I might have been listening to a podcast. Maybe it was like Tony Baxter or something. I don't remember, but I just remember from what I can recall, some renowned Disney person, like an Imagineer or something, referred to a ride the same way that I would. So they just called the Peter Pan ride Peter Pan. Like, they didn't call it Peter Pan's Flight. I can't even freaking say it. It's not even that much of a tongue twister, but maybe I just can't speak right, or I'm lazy or something. I don't know, but yeah, so once I heard that, which was actually recently, I'm like, yeah, no, not going back, not even going to try to change it. For whatever reason, the ones that don't bother me, or have not ever bothered me, and I think part of it is because they are so classic, is Pinocchio's Daring Journey and Snow White's Scary Adventure. I actually wish that Snow White's Scary Adventure was still Snow White's Scary Adventure. I think I would have been okay with making Snow White's Scary Adventure a little bit more enchanted, just in terms of the ride itself and whatever the themings and the things in the ride. But I don't necessarily think it should have been made less scary, but that's just me, and I definitely will never, ever, ever call the ride Snow White's Enchanted Wish. Never. It's just never, ever going to happen. Pinocchio's Daring Journey, though, that's a freaking cool name. That name is freaking sick. I don't know why. It just makes sense. Actually, now that I think about it, I want to say the original ride for Peter Pan was actually just called Peter Pan. Like, I think I saw that on an offhand Disney video or something, and I think he was like poking fun a little bit at it, that it was just called Peter Pan, but it's like, I don't know, for some reason that just makes sense to me. I don't know why. So yeah, I think Peter Pan was legitimately originally just called Peter Pan, and I don't think it was called Peter Pan's Flight. Why is that such a tongue twister for me? It was not called Peter Pan's Flight before. It was just called Peter Pan. But like, yeah, that just makes so much more sense to me. To me, certain ride names like Tiana's Bayou Adventure and Snow White's Enchanted Wish and Peter Pan's Flight and Dumbo the Flying Elephant. That one a little bit less, but the other ones, it sounds so cheesy to me. Like, it just sounds so, I don't know, just like midway between cheesy and corny. Like, if cheesy and corny just met halfway, right down the middle, just split them even 50-50, slap bang in the middle. That's what those ride names sound like. So Dumbo can do no wrong. So Dumbo the Flying Elephant, like, that's just describing Dumbo himself. So that one's not so bad. He is in fact and indeed a flying elephant, so no harm there. But yeah, even then I just called Dumbo. Like, let's go get on Dumbo. Let's go on Peter Pan, which, if you take it literal, it's kind of weird, but it doesn't matter. Like, the Peter Pan ride was just called Peter Pan before, and that's how I still refer to it. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, that just has a nice ring to it. And also, I didn't know or watch the movie of Mr. Toad for, like, ever. I had never seen it, so I had gone on the ride hundreds of times before I even saw the movie. So I don't know if that has something to do with it. But even then, like, the vast majority of the time, I just refer to it as Mr. Toad's. Like, let's go get on Mr. Toad's. Maybe that's like the California locals' way of saying it. That's just how everybody I knew would refer to these rides as. Like, let's go get on to Snow White or Peter Pan or Mr. Toad's or Dumbo or whatever. Or Pirates. I think Pirates is the one that's more common, but yeah, like, I would literally never, even if it were a longer name, I would never want to call it like, oh, this is Pirates of the Caribbean sailing across the seas or whatever. It's just so cheesy to me. Anyway, that's way off track. Back to Tiana's Bayou Adventure versus Jungle Cruise, which now may be out of time to do that, but I thought those were two. I think this is an interesting matchup between Tiana's Bayou Adventure and the Jungle Cruise. It's an interesting matchup because they both have somewhat similar themings or like I don't know, imagery, I suppose. Like they both have like the nature type of, animal type of theming. So that's interesting. So I think, this is a tough one. In reality, if I had to choose one, like if and when I go to Disneyland this year in California, if I were to be faced with this choice to just pick one for the day, it depends. It depends on the queue time. So if, let's say, a Jungle Cruise is a 25-minute wait, posted wait time, and line looks like it's around 25 minutes, and Tiana's Bayou Adventure is new and popular and all crazy, and it's like an hour wait, I'm 100% probably just going to skip Tiana's for the day and just do Jungle Cruise. I don't know that Tiana's would fit into the itinerary or goals that I have in the way that I'm visiting parks these days, whether it would be Florida or California. I would love the chance and the opportunity to go on that ride though. Like I would do anything I could to go on that ride. But if I only have like, one day or whatever in the park, and that's like one day a year or something like that, then I might actually choose Jungle Cruise, believe it or not, over the new Tiana's Bayou Adventure ride. I think we're really cutting it close on time here, so I'm probably going to continue this Tiana's versus Jungle Cruise next time. But let me think if there's any closing thoughts here for Tiana's versus Jungle Cruise. So it would be obviously much different if it were Jungle Cruise versus Splash Mountain. That would definitely be different. And it's messing with my mind because now I'm thinking hypothetically of like, well, what if it's Jungle Cruise versus, now that we know Splash is gone for good, like what if we brought back Splash for a day, hypothetically, and I had to choose between Jungle Cruise and Splash? Obviously, I'm going to choose Splash Mountain. But anyway, that's just a hypothetical, and we'll pick this up next time. So thanks for listening, and take care.